You deserve justice. You may proceed anonymously so that your identity is confidential. Call me to find out your options before it's too late.
This is a paid advertisement for Herman Law.
Do you have an old car, truck, or van taking up space in your home? You can call the number below today and donate it to the United Breast Cancer Foundation to help save a life. Our qualified personnel will go to your home to pick it up completely free of charge. Donating your old truck or SUV helps pay for the programs available to women affected by breast cancer who need your help. Please help us to help others. Call now.
We all know that movement is like medicine, but getting the movement you need to feel better can be a challenge. Now you can keep fit while you sit with QB, the world's leading compact seated elliptical. QB gives you active sitting, letting you burn calories and keep moving in an easy and low-impact way, all while you work, read, or watch TV. QB was named a top 10 gift by Time Magazine and has been featured all over the world. It's whisper quiet while it works your abs and core, hip flexors, glutes, quads, hamstrings, and calves.
QB is a lifesaver for me.
Here's your answer to your problem.
I feel young again.
Join the hundreds of thousands of people moving more with QB. Call to find out how to get your QB with free shipping and a 30-day completely risk-free trial. You'll also get this QB workout mat free. Now keep fit while you sit with QB.
To order, call 800-289-5820. That's 800-289-5820. Call now.
Good evening and welcome to, well, a very meaningful RFL. Later this hour, I will take you to the southern border where I just visited, and I'm going to share my firsthand accounts of what immigration looks like up close from both Mexican and Texan soil. We will also take you to our nation's capital where the once unthinkable has become reality. The Republican Party voted today not to investigate the insurrection from the very building that they had to be rescued from when the mob came for them. The political cowardice and its consequences coming up. But first, I have a difficult announcement. Tonight will be the final RFL. While this may appear sudden, it's been coming for a while. The decision, though painful, it is my own. I wear many hats at RNN, including principally management, and I just can't continue to give the time that this program and you, the viewer, deserve. That being said, this is still tough. It has been an honor of a lifetime to have gone to work with the people attached to this program and to have been welcomed into your homes. Now, this show, by any measurement, has been a huge part of my life. To give you a frame of reference, I started doing this before I met my wife and started my family. This month, I brought my oldest kid home from college. The time, it has flown by. I have seen and done a lot over the years. This platform, it has allowed me to travel the world and this country. I have seen unbelievable grace and courage, and I've seen what the worst of humanity can do. I've interviewed presidents and personalities and everything in between. We've done award-winning programming and consequential investigations that literally saved lives. We've championed causes that turned into law and highlighted abuses that led to reform. I tried to create an hour where we would give context to the big story and explain why it mattered for America and why you at home should care. Now, you may not have agreed with all my positions, but I never lied, and I always told you where I stood. One of the things I will miss most is hearing from you. Without fail, when we opened our phone lines, you delivered, and often you put in human terms how a certain debate wasn't theoretical to you. You shared how it impacted your life. When the show worked best, I felt it was like a conversation with a friend on the other side of the television set, that we aspired to talk to instead of at. I hope we held up our end of the bargain. Now, I leave the airwaves at a very tenuous time in America. The 20th anniversary of 9/11, it's a few months from now, and it still is the most seismic event that I've ever covered. Broadcasting so close to ground zero, the pain was so raw, we were so vulnerable, and collectively, we all had doubt. But we also had resolve. And please, don't let the revisionists say otherwise. While policy mistakes were made in the aftermath, the generosity and the unity of purpose of Americans, it was inspiring. That spirit, to me, it feels like a ghost now. The party before country calculation has somehow become the GOP platform. The consequences of this Faustian bargain, it's not just gridlock. It's a daily attack on truth. It's a bat signal to the deranged and the dangerous that their bile can come out of the shadows. Now, I've learned a lot of hard truths over the past few years. A person I never thought could become president not only proved me wrong, he hijacked a weak-kneed party and proved just how much ugliness there is in a country that I am still blessed to be a citizen of. I do not sign off, however, without hope. The American experiment is still the greatest modern beacon of democracy we have ever seen. Now, I've been wrong many times. I thought after Sandy Hook and the heartbreaking images of all those tiny coffins that we as a nation would join the rest of the modern world and rethink our gun laws. I thought after the insurrection that a violent coup to overthrow an election at the heartbeat of Congress, it would be a wake-up call to step back from the flame. So far, too many choose to still play with fire. I still believe that the fever will break. It will take longer than I ever imagined, but like with Joe McCarthy, we will finally choose decency over fear. Now, when I close the show, I will take time to thank all the people that made this program so hard to walk away from. But I first wanted to thank you. I know finding this show took effort at times. I'm sure you didn't always agree with my take on the issues, but you were dedicated and you cared. Thank you so much on behalf of everyone attached to RFL for choosing to spend your valuable time with us. Now, Andrew's going to join me on the other side of the break, and we're going to try to forecast the issues that we believe will dominate the American conversation.
Villains, robbers, bandits, crooks, they're all over your TV screen. But the biggest thieves are behind your screen. I'm talking about the cable companies. They charge monthly subscriptions, fees, rentals, and force you to take long-term contracts. Well, it's time to say goodbye to the cable guy, because now you can watch 4K Ultra HD broadcast TV for free. Introducing Clear TV's new 4K Ultra HD design, the Premium HD. Just plug it into your TV and start watching for free. You will instantly receive top-rated network shows, local news and weather, sporting events, and even Ultra HD 4K broadcast shows, all for free. Thanks to a federal government mandate, all broadcasters are required to transmit a digital TV signal through the airwaves. The new Premium Clear TV lets you bypass cable or satellite to bring network and 4K broadcast shows directly to your television. Retract the antenna to keep it small or extend them for maximum reception.
Setup was so easy. I took my Clear TV antenna, plugged it into the back of the TV, and now I can watch my favorite broadcast channels anywhere in the house for free.
We're just off the coast here in the Gulf of Mexico receiving free network broadcast HD TV. Imagine all the free shows you'll receive at home.
Basic cable and satellite services can cost you up to $80 a month. That's $960 a year and almost $10,000 over a 10-year period. Watch TV in as many rooms as you like with no additional monthly fees. Stop spending money you don't have to spend. Call or go online now and get your premium Clear TV 4K Ultra HD antenna for only $19.95. It's backed by our 60-day money-back guarantee. Order now and you can add a second Clear TV free. Just pay separate processing and handling. That's a $40 value for only $19.95.
I can't believe I get all these channels for free. Plus 4K Ultra HD, Clear TV is for real.
Need life insurance? SelectQuote found Jacob, 40, a $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. And SelectQuote found his wife Wendy, a $500,000 policy for only $17 a month.
Our secret? At SelectQuote, we aggressively comparison shop up to 10 highly rated companies to find you the company with the best rates. Why pay more? Give your family the security they need at a price you can afford. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for dental visits. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for transportation to my doctor. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay to have my prescriptions delivered directly to my home. Did you?
These and more are important benefits some Medicare Advantage plans may give you. So if you're eligible for Medicare, call us right now because you could enroll in a plan with some amazing additional benefits. Call now.
In this segment, we're going to focus on the challenges our nation will face in the coming years, including just today, GOP's shameful, unpatriotic, willful ignorance of this horrible moment in our nation's history. Those horrible scenes of the Capitol riot happened just 142 days ago. That's all we're talking about. It's so recent, most of us can still close our eyes and still see the awful images in our heads. But apparently, not in Trump's Republican Party, where the riot has now become just another forgettable PR day, one to be forgotten and one they or their leader should never be held accountable for. Their latest and perhaps final shameful GOP closing of the book on January 6th coming this afternoon in the U.S. Senate. And for that, we turn to senior political correspondent Andrew Whitman.
And Rich, as expected, Republicans had the vote to filibuster and block the bill that would have created a bipartisan riot commission, one in which each party could pick its own members, both sides could issue subpoenas, and one that would finish by the end of this year, keeping it away from the 2022 midterms, which Republicans publicly feared. Here, the all but final death knell of the riot commission.
On this vote, the yeas are 54, the nays are 35. 3/5 of the senators duly chosen and sworn not having voted in the affirmative. The motion is not agreed to.
If you're doing the math, no, all 100 senators did not vote today, and their absences did impact the final outcome. More on that in a moment. Democrats can continue to force votes on the commission proposal in the future, but that figures to be less of a realistic push and more political theater. There was almost no public debate on the commission vote, just 3 speakers. Here are bits from 2 of them.
What are you afraid of? The truth? Are you afraid that Donald Trump's big lie will be dispelled?
We owe it to the heroic Capitol Police, to the first responders, to the staff members who sat in closets for hours and hours and hours, to the police officer who was called the N-word 15 times and then sat in the rotunda and looked at another officer and said, "Is this America?" We owe it to them that put themselves in harm's way to protect the Capitol and the sacred democratic process. Inaction is not an option.
This vote has made it official. Donald Trump's big lie has now fully enveloped the Republican Party. Trump's big lie is now the defining principle of what was once the party of Lincoln. Shame on the Republican Party for trying to sweep the horrors of that day under the rug because they're afraid of Donald Trump. Our democracy has long endured because leaders of good faith, even if they disagreed, even at political cost, shared a fidelity to the truth. Not so today.
Okay, so let's break down today's commission vote. There were some displays of political courage among some Republicans, and they deserve credit for their votes. There were just 5 of them. Louisiana's Bill Cassidy, Maine's Susan Collins, Alaska's Lisa Murkowski, Ohio's retiring Rob Portman, and Nebraska's Ben Sasse. That's 5 Republicans who crossed the line to vote yes, fewer than the 7 Republicans who voted to remove Donald Trump from office during his second impeachment trial. Then come the profiles in cowardice, starting with the 4 retiring Republicans who did not vote yes and did not vote no. They didn't vote at all. The most disappointing for Democrats, North Carolina's Richard Burr and Pennsylvania's Pat Toomey both had voted to convict Trump. Neither voted at all today. But blame for the outcome of today's vote, it's not entirely on Republicans alone. 2 of the 50 Democratic senators also missed this key vote. Arizona's Kyrsten Sinema, who has been on the fence about the commission and who opposes filibuster reform, skipped the vote with no explanation given. But Washington's Patty Murray, who's up for re-election next year, was also absent, a surprise to many. Murray released a statement saying she had to fly home for a personal family matter and pledged to keep fighting for a commission. It'll be interesting to hear more from her and reaction in both Washingtons in the coming days. Rich?
You know, Andrew, what a sad story to close on here, in that the Republican negotiator that McConnell put in there to say, okay, guys, right, negotiate. He got all the terms Republican wanted. They could have equal members on this. Think of the 9/11 Commission. It could have been like that. He comes back and says, this is a good deal, guys. The Republican negotiator, Congressman Katko, and then, never mind. We don't want to do it. I heard the widow, the mother and the former partner of late Officer Sitnik. The guy died on January 6th. Defending, protecting these guys. And they didn't even have the decency to have a commission. And to hear this poor mom say it, they were just humoring her. They weren't even listening to what she had to say, some of them. It's so small.
And some of them wouldn't meet with her at all. There were several Republican senators who refused that meeting, which seems unconscionable. And again, we've said this before, but it appears as though the basis for this was simply political power. Kevin McCarthy wants to be Speaker of the House. Mitch McConnell wants to be the majority leader in the Senate again. This has nothing to do with what's good for the country. This only has to do what's good in their minds for the Republican Party. We'll see if that comes to bite them at some point down the road.
Yeah, and we know how this works. In the end, we're going to get answers. Maybe it's through investigative reporting. Maybe they're going to have this commission and they're going to get, blow up the filibuster to do it. We shall see. But the idea, Andrew, a couple months ago, that this was a possibility that we wouldn't have a commission. My God, I don't know where I've been, but I never thought we were going to get to this point.
And without a commission, you lose the unimpeachable word coming from whatever the final result is. If it has to be a partisan investigation akin to what Republicans did with Benghazi, that'll immediately be politicized, and they say you can't trust the results. The 9/11 Commission that this was based on was supposed to be the model. Everybody accepted the facts, everybody accepted the recommendations, and we moved on as a unified country from that. You would have hoped that an attack on the U.S. Capitol would have been met similarly. It wasn't.
I want to now look ahead and discuss a few issues we know we're going to be dealing with a year from now or more, including the current president. He is in the middle of his second 100 days. He's got an ambitious agenda: COVID recovery, both economic and from public health standpoint, the economy overall, aid to families, climate change, infrastructure, and much, much more. Surprised, Andrew, at how ambitious out of the gate and still President Biden is. And I know the price tag's huge. Part of me thinks this is a creature of the Senate, being President Biden. He knows that there may be a deal, whether he'll find Republican partners for it, but he knows he's going to come down from the $6 billion. That's just a starting point.
Yeah, and he's offering things that the public wants. All of these things are enormously popular when you break them down line item by line item. The question is his tactics at this point. He's already getting some flack now from Republicans for not being willing to compromise enough, and from Democrats for not being willing to walk away and say, enough of this, we're going to do it ourselves. That's one thing to watch in the coming days. But also, the need for infrastructure is so enormous. What he wants to do with family assistance could change the way that the country operates. I also think there's going to be an interesting dispute over labor in the year to come, especially as the recovery from COVID continues to happen, and workers generally with their feet are saying they're dissatisfied the way the things had already been set up. Very interesting to see how this plays out.
But do you believe, if we were sitting here a year from now, that it's so hard to get 60 votes on anything, that at the end they're going to have to make a decision, maybe more broadly than on each individual vote here, that at some point they're going to say, we're not going to get to the magic number. We're just going to ram this thing through if they can keep, obviously, Manchin and Sinema on board?
I think that's going to be a bigger lift than they might be hoping for. I think we're done with any bipartisan efforts going forward because we're only about 6-7 months away from really the start of the midterm election season, at which point nothing becomes possible. So I don't think they're going to wind up doing things by themselves. I don't think they're going to wind up with bipartisan cooperation. And we're going to wind up in this pitched battle ahead of the midterms. And given the election restriction laws that we're seeing around the country, there's real worry, and there should be for Democrats, how they go into the midterms and how they come out.
Now, we got a topic that we've talked about, you and I, so many times. And sadly, there's little to any movement. I'm talking about the epidemic of gun violence and mass shootings, as if we need another reminder of the problem and our inaction. We got one earlier this week in San Jose, 9 innocent people killed, added to a list and a body count that runs far, far too long. 58 dead in Vegas in 2017, 26 dead at Sandy Hook Elementary, including 26 and 7-year-olds in 2012, 32 dead at Virginia Tech in 2007, 13 at Columbine in 99, and I can go on here. Every poll I look at, Andrew, says people want more. Universal background checks, 3/4 on assault weapons. It's just noise at this point. Is there any reason to think that as we had velocity for gay marriage, as we had major changes for legalization, for example, of marijuana, I mean, there are societal issues that change. Is it just too much of an ingrained cultural thing, unlike tobacco, for example, that the public will ever go for reforms that the vast plurality want?
I think it is asking too much, at least in the foreseeable future. The rhetoric continues to come from Republican circles. Matt Gaetz yesterday talked about people in California using their Second Amendment rights. Trump has used similar language, but that's code for go ahead and use your guns to solve these disputes. There's polling that indicates that a substantial number of Republicans, I think nearly 30% of Republicans, think it's okay to resort to violence if there's, political stalemates that need to be worked through. I think the only exception to that is if somehow the fever hold of the Republican Party in its current trajectory is broken somehow. And the party in recovering, loses seats, and Democrats wind up in greater control than they have. And the GOP is looking for ways to make themselves more appealing to the public in general, but they're nowhere close to that, Rich.
I mentioned all these topics have to do with one thing, which is we don't have 2 functioning political parties. I still held out optimism, like the fever breaking when we had, Joe McCarthy. Are you optimistic we're going to get there or not?
No, and because the system is being gamed at so many different levels, state legislatures, state election commissioners, federal courts, state courts, obviously, and the Supreme Court. So no, I think if Democrats have a 7, 8, 10-point advantage in the numbers in the midterms, they may still lose the Senate, they may still lose the House. You would have to see an overwhelming Democratic wave, the likes of which we haven't seen, since Reagan and the Republicans in 80 and since Johnson in 64. I don't see it.
13 years, you and I. 13 years. It goes up being said that it has been a pleasure and a privilege. I said my piece at the top, but thank you. Thank you for everything you've meant to this program and for being a great wingman all these years.
Thank you. I wish the topics we had to cover were just a little more palatable every night, but it's been a pleasure, Rich.
Let's hope. All right, folks. When we come back, my visit both to the Texas and the Mexican side of the border. Immigration, obviously a huge debate here, so we decided to get an up-close and personal look for ourselves to see what it really looks like, what the migrants are dealing with as they try to come to America to find the American dream, challenges they find along the way, and the reaction on both sides of the wall.
Are you over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days? I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. Call now for this free book on maximizing your income in retirement. Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers from leading financial firm J.D. Mellberg. That's right, free. This book reveals little-known truths about annuities in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now, because we're about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known truths we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity, and it's free. Call 800-851-7261. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report. We researched numerous products and summarized rates and benefits of annuities, all from Silac Insurance Company. Call 800-851-7261. That's 800-851-7261. Call now.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Diabetics understand all too well the pain of pricking your fingers. But now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can immediately reduce your pain. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 or more times daily, injecting insulin 3 or more times daily, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn about this groundbreaking new CGM technology. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 or more times daily, injecting insulin 3 or more times daily, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how you can get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
This is important news for people who took certain drugs for HIV and then suffered serious injury to their kidneys or bones. If you or a loved one took Truvada, Viriad, Atroplus, Stribild, or Complera and were then diagnosed with kidney disease, kidney failure, bone fractures, bone density loss, or softening of the bones, call Davis & Crump right now to see if you're eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Our first consultation is free, and we don't get paid unless you get paid. Call Davis & Crump right now. Operators are standing by.
PTSD isn't something that is just going to go away on its own.
Treatment works. It helps.
There's no shame in treatment.
Just do it. Your world will be so different afterwards.
It's a warrior sickness. It's not a coward sickness.
Never too late.
I guarantee you it'll help you.
It will change your life.
It turned my life around.
You can find peace.
I never thought I could feel this good.
Walk through those doors. Take the step.
Go get help. It's the best and bravest thing you could ever do.
Treatment works. The wall. Sure, it's a steel structure, but if we're honest, it evokes immediate debate, as it has in this country for the last 4 years. It's a steel structure. It will not be completed, but even the uncompleted version leaves behind a debate as to what we are as a country, who we want as part of our country, and how those people who want to be part of the American dream need to get here. Over the next half hour, you're going to be meeting people who have come thousands of miles, and they view this side of the wall as the dream and the other side as a punctuation to their desperation. You'll also be hearing from people who live in America, in Texas, and they describe the reality of immigration in different ways than maybe you've heard through your TV set. You will hear their raw, honest voices, as you will be hearing those who have made the impossible journey just to get to this point, a point of limbo. All those conversations and more in the next 30 minutes. Usually in the States, when we talk about immigration, we talk about numbers. We'll use terms. We'll talk about walls. We'll talk about administrations, but rarely do we talk about people. So today, in Reynosa, Mexico, we're going to do just that. We are at La Plaza de la República, and here you see a makeshift shelter behind me. Overwhelmingly, the people here come from Latin America. They've had great hopes about what they'd find just less than a mile from me where the border is, but obviously it's just that, a hope, not a reality. Today we're going to talk about the challenges, the trials and tribulations, the horrors many of them face in their trip here, but also the limbo they find themselves in, the hopes of what they'll get to, and also the good people that are helping them try to achieve their dream.
Muy difícil.
This morning.
Difícil porque uno viene con grandes ilusiones y más que todo por ver a nuestros hijos superarse, porque ellos tengan una mejor vida mi mejor aprendizaje.
Delmi Duarte's story is not uncommon. She traveled here from Honduras with her young son, and they made it to the U.S. only to be returned here. When you got here 2 weeks ago, did they tell you that you were going to be able to come into the United States?
Sí, por eso más nosotros nos motivamos porque nos dijeron que veníamos seguros a entregarnos y que nos iban a apoyar ellos.
How much longer will you stay here and hope that you get a chance before you turn around and go back home?
No sé realmente cuánto tiempo se puede esperar, porque igual no es primera vez que yo me vengo. Esta vez yo pues ilusionada cuando ya logramos entrar y desilusionada por completa el momento de que ya solo nos suben al bus y de repente que no, que aquí se quedan, sin ninguna explicación ni nada.
What did you tell your son today?
Él está decepcionado porque él igual venía ilusionado con poder estar del otro lado. Y ahora él me dice, ¿qué vamos a hacer acá?
Delmi and her son share a tent like everyone else here, including Linda Rachel De Leon Valderrama, who shows us the home that she shares with 3 other people.
Bueno, aquí en el rincón duerme mi mamá, mi hermano, mi hermana y yo duermo aquí. Y allá tenemos acomodadas todas las cosas. Tenemos en bolsas la ropa, la comida, las sábanas con lo que nos tapamos. Y ya así como eso lo ponemos cuando sale el sol para que no nos alumbre tanto.
But that's exactly what happens just a few minutes later. It was the weather in Honduras that drove 33-year-old Carlos Ruiz Rivera to leave his 9-year-old daughter and family behind to try to get to the United States.
La situación de las tormentas tropicales que hubieron es uno de los mayores factores por los que nosotros decidimos migrar hacia acá. ¿Ya? 1, falta de empleo y 3, extorsión. Ahí hay mucha extorsión.
Explain for my audience, how are people extorted in Honduras?
Una extorsión allá en mi país, donde le llamamos Honduras, se trata de que allá hay maras y pandillas que pueden haber en cualquier parte del mundo, lo hay. Puede ser que Estados Unidos, México, Guatemala, eso es una asociación de gente que se dedica a delinquir, le podemos llamar nosotros, o a robar, andar extorsionando los negocios, pueden ser los negocios, pueden ser cualquier tipo de negocio, sea una empresa pequeña o una empresa grande.
Have you been frustrated? What did you expect to find when you got to the border versus what you've had to deal with?
Muy duro, creo que para todos y cada uno de nosotros es muy duro. Es la triste realidad, pues, de llegar a tomar una decisión de esta, viajar miles de kilómetros hasta acá, no es fácil. No es fácil.
Did many people come here because they thought that when Trump lost, this was going to be different at the border?
Yo digo que sí, la verdad sí. Esa es la esperanza, después de Dios, pues, confiar en Él, que ese es uno de los mayores, motivos por el cual viajar, porque se escuchan muchos rumores en periódicos, en canales de televisión, en todo eso. Creo que sí.
What do you hope your future to be? What do you want to do for work? Do you want to bring your family? What's your dream if you can get to America?
Después de Dios, los sueños, creo que traer a mi familia. Y sí me gustaría, si se diera la oportunidad, me la traigo. Si se diese la oportunidad, creo que sí.
If 2-3 months from now, you're still here at the plaza, are you thinking about turning around and going back home?
No. Imposible, es algo imposible que voy a hacer, regresar allá, no. Es algo imposible.
After an auto accident, insurance companies will try to outsmart you and pay as little as possible. At Vocate Legal, our attorneys know exactly how big insurance thinks and how to outsmart them. That's all we do, day in and day out. Call us today or visit vocate.com for a free consultation. We'll help you connect to a qualified attorney in under 10 minutes. Get a free consultation and we'll start working for you right away. Better yet, you don't pay unless you win your case. Our accomplished attorneys have the experience and knowledge to handle your case strategically and will fight to get your medical expenses paid, your car repaired, and the maximum compensation. Make the right move and partner with one of our Vocate legal attorneys at no upfront cost to you. Call us today or visit vocate.com for a free consultation.
Vocate Legal, fight smarter.
IRS, open up.
The IRS is the most feared agency in the country and has the power to seize assets, garnish wages, and even put you in jail for back taxes and unfiled tax returns. Don't be a victim. Call Kick IRS right now and let us kick those IRS problems out of your life once and for all. Our powerful team of tax experts will fight hard for you and will not stop until we've resolved your tax problems on your terms. And if you qualify, we may even reduce or eliminate your tax debt altogether. No more sleepless nights wondering when the IRS is going to come after you. Take control of your tax problems today and make the phone call. We have an A rating with the Better Business Bureau, and we offer a 100% written guarantee, so there's nothing to lose and everything to gain. The consultation is free and the phone call is free. So pick up the phone right now and kick those IRS problems out of your life once and for all.
Call 1-800-284-0468 to get the tax help you need today. Again, that's 1-800-284-0468 or go to kickirs.net.
As we fight back against the ravages of COVID-19 and begin to move forward, what do you want?
I want hope for a better future.
What do you want for your family?
An appreciation for what we have when we have it.
What do you want for the world?
It's just that everybody makes it through this with their health.
Even when you're fully vaccinated, continue to follow the CDC guidelines.
Do not let your guard down.
Let's all unite to prevent.
Unite to prevent.
A few things become abundantly clear even after only a few days along the border. Immigration and what to do about it with a coherent policy is a much more complicated subject than politicians on either side would lead you to believe. In fact, I'm coming to you from a location where not too many weeks ago, politicians dressed up in camouflage decided to make this a spectacle. If only it were that easy. The other thing that is remarkably clear when you're here is just how close you are to the other side, whether it be a fence or a narrow body of water. It is a small area to be crossed, but it separates so much, including people's opinions, like Gloria Garza, who lives in Granjero, Texas, with the border barrier literally in her backyard. You are not a new resident to here.
Oh, no, I was born here.
So you've seen the changes over time. Tell us how it's changed.
It's changed horribly. I was fighting against the border wall because we were losing our properties with that eminent domain. But, you know, I'm 100% for the border wall. Now, there's nights I don't sleep and I'll be outside because I'm sick. And you have to be on the watch out.
We were in Reynosa yesterday and we heard stories that breaks your heart. You know, mothers with kids, what they were running from, or what they were running to. I don't know what the answers are. But it's a complicated subject, isn't it, in terms of different people coming for different reasons, running from different things?
Yeah, it's a very complicated case. But, you know, as with our laws here, it is very sad because, you know, you find somebody here as simple as they went into the store, which I'm against, and they leave the kid on the car for 5-10 minutes, they get jail time. How come they don't enforce those laws on these people that bring all these little kids, because they're little kids?
So for people that aren't living along the border, who don't live this as a daily life, and they see the hardship, and they see the awful conditions and hear the horrible stories that people are running from, what we want to do is give also the other side, the people who live here, and this isn't something they see on the news but live through it. What is it that you'd like to leave with people about the part of this conversation they don't see?
The people that don't live here, we have a lot of people from McAllen, as it was publicized. I say McAllen because stress on them. they say, no, I mean, we don't have problems with them. They don't have problems because they're over in McAllen. We are the ones with the problems. I can say the word they don't care because they don't experience it. But it is horrible.
Have you ever thought, you've called this home for your whole life, have you ever thought about going somewhere else?
Not really, because you can't, well, you can sell here. This little town, it's very family oriented, and this land has been from our forefathers. Nobody sells.
Down the street at the Junkyard Bar, which sits on the only open stretch of border wall in Granjeo, waitress Lupita Salinas feels differently.
A lot of people come over because they're afraid to be in Mexico because of the situation over there, so they have to run from over there to come over here to have another life better. So that's what they do.
In McAllen, where you live, which is a few miles from where we are, would you say more people, like you said, are sympathetic to what they're running from, or saying, what are they doing to our town?
Well, actually, some people come for a good way to survive. Some other people, they're bad. You know, you never know who's good and who's bad, but more of the people that come over to survive, to get a better life.
Have you seen some families come over and little kids?
I see like 2 kids walking by themselves from the border, from this walking, and then a border patrol passed by and pick them up. But I mean, it's so sad.
The first 3 months, we saved $4,100.
CarShield saved me over $6,000 in engine repairs.
I saved $4,100 out of pocket.
Amazing, amazing.
Customers everywhere agree. If your car is out of warranty, you need to call CarShield before your car has an expensive breakdown.
Without CarShield, there was no way that I could afford to get my car fixed.
An engine, transmission, or computer system breakdown could cost you thousands of dollars, but not with CarShield, America's #1 car protection provider.
CarShield saved us $4,000. That was great, right?
Yes, it was.
We're just happy with CarShield. They put a transmission in it and a motor. Who does that?
CarShield makes sure you don't have to pay for expensive car repairs.
The components that we're using are not getting cheaper. So nowadays, coverage is even more important.
CarShield covers most makes and models from 5,000 to 150,000 miles.
It's easy, affordable, and no long-term contracts.
And when customers realize that they're getting a $5,000 job for $100, they're excited. I've had customers who were so happy that they did break down into tears and cry.
We saved over $6,000 on a complete engine rebuild of our truck.
With CarShield, I saved over $3,600. It's a no-brainer.
I never have to worry about being taken advantage of when it comes to car repairs.
It's like having a suit of armor around my car.
Cars will break down, and those breakdowns could cost you thousands unless you call CarShield today and get the protection you deserve.
CarShield saved me in excess of $10,000.
And when you call, you'll also receive at no extra cost roadside assistance, towing services, and rental coverage.
If your car's out of warranty, believe me, you want to have CarShield.
Make the smart choice and protect yourself from sky-high auto repair bills. Call now for a free and instant protection plan quote. It's only a matter of time until repairs are needed. And once your car breaks down, it's too late. Call 800-858-4214, 800-858-4214.
This is important news for people who have taken Zantac or its generic ranitidine and then suffered from cancer. Zantac and generic ranitidine have been linked to cancers. Zantac and ranitidine contain NDMA, a known cancer-causing agent. If you or a loved one took Zantac or generic ranitidine and were then diagnosed with bladder cancer, kidney cancer, or any of these cancers, call Davis & Crump right now to see if you're eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Operators are standing by.
I'm standing right now on ground of Roma, Texas. Right across the river is Mexico. And just to give you an idea that no part of this immigration conversation or debates about reform is a simple, straightforward one, if you cross by water coming to this country, you're doing so illegally. If you cross on land, you're doing it legally, albeit with no promise of having a final stop in the United States. We're going to have a conversation with Sister Pimentel. And for her, this is not a theoretical conversation. She's lived this, literally dealing with more than 10,000 migrants coming from all parts of largely Latin America.
depending where you come from, depending how you come, depending when you come, depending who you come with, are all variables in who gets to stay and who doesn't. We're going to get into those conversations and much more with the sister. Sister, thank you. We've spent time on both sides of the border, and we've seen and heard heartbreaking stories from people who are in limbo, not knowing if they'll ever get to this side of the border. Explain how people get here versus so many that never get to the American side.
The United States has made an agreement with Mexico to return everybody back to Mexico that is trying to enter the country. That was in place since the previous administration. This administration has maintained that same policy and returns everybody back. That's Title 42, okay? In Title 42, everybody that attempts to enter the United States is sent right back to Mexico. But Mexico is saying anyone that has a child under the age of 6 we cannot take back. And so those families are forced to remain in the United States, and they're allowed to give permission after they've been processed and been vetted. They give them permission to continue their journey and continue their immigration process in the United States at their point of destination. So these are the families we see right now here. These are moms or dads, family units that have kids, and they have at least one child that is under the age of 6. Those that are at high risk, most vulnerable in Mexico, if they're going to be allowed back into and to be able to be processed in the United States and give permission to enter the United States. But that is just starting to, this past week, that began. And so those families also are starting to see here.
People think of immigration, it's interesting, always is a new issue, but it's been going on.
It has been going on
for a long,
while,
long time.
Yes.
How have you seen the last year of this conversation and the faces and the stories that you hear? How has that changed from 5, 10, 15 years ago?
What I hear from the families is the same reality from day one when we started in 2014 and welcomed the very first families we saw at our bus station. There are families that are crying and saying, I can't go back home. My older child was killed. I'm afraid for my baby, my kids now. They will also be killed or kidnapped or recruited by gangs. And so out of that fear, families come to the United States. This is the story I've heard since day one when we got started, to respond in a humane way to these families that are now here in the United States. The United States has given them permission to remain in the United States, to be processed safely and legally, to determine whether they have a right to be here because of asylum. So we basically just take them to provide for them the care, the humanitarian care they need, because they're here already, and we give them a chance to take a shower, to eat, to get clean clothing, and then connect them with their families so that their families can pay their bus transportation, and they're gone. So they're here a couple of hours. That's all we're doing. It's just good people from the United States that feel that these are people, human beings, these are families and children. They need care.
We have talked to a lot of folks on the Texas side of the border who say, listen, I don't hate these people. I understand what they're running from, but we're also concerned about the tax that it's going to put on us, not the economic, but the human tax and the safety issue. Do these people, if they get a court date, do you think that they want to show up to the court? Do they just think that I'm in the country and that's it? I've gotten to a better life with my family? What is the goal of the people that you talk to? And I know you have 24, 48 hours with these people before they get to the next stage in life, but you've seen thousands of these people. What's your sense as to what their real dream is?
The real dream is, the mother's dream is for their child to be safe, to be protected, to be in a safe space where they're not going to be killed or kidnapped. That's their dream. They want to be able to provide for their family, care for their family in a safe environment. I believe that most of them, not all of them, would rather be home, would rather be in their country where if it was safe to be there. That's their dream, but they can't be there. So the next best thing is to be in a country that they know is safe, like the United States. They feel that here their kids have a chance to grow up, to go to school, to be safe until the day they can go back home, And so all of them would rather go to an immigration court and process, a legal process, to share their story so people will know. I've seen death in my own neighborhood. People are scared. These are my story. They want that chance. They want to be able to go to an immigration court and be heard. That's who these families are. So I get people call me and say, sister, I'm in Chicago, I'm in Los Angeles. I haven't received a notice to appear. What do I need to do? And I said, go and show up to the immigration closest to you, and let me find a way to get you there, and guide you. So we have legal attorneys here giving charlas and explaining to the families what they need to do.
I was struck by how much misinformation people were being fed when they were coming here, what they would find, and that this is much more complicated than people in Washington make it out to be, what we should or shouldn't do. But if you got to sit down with the president and you said, this is what would really make the most amount of sense to deal with desperate people, what would it be that we're not doing?
We have seen this since 2014, probably even more longer. And it has never been addressed, the root causes of why these people are here. We've always tried to address it at the border, like deter them from coming, enforce the border so they don't cross in, put up a wall. All of that efforts, it's like you're not really looking at why these families are coming, and hopefully find ways to find solutions that keep these families home, keep them safe, keep them from traveling and risking their lives in the way they do. They're people. And we're an amazing country with high principles, respect to life. We must treat these families that are here the right way.
We're conditioned, whether it be through an epic or a movie, that after a great journey, at the end of that piece of art, our protagonists, when they reach that final destination, we have closure. What struck me, and hopefully you've gotten to see it for yourselves over this program, is that we have anything but closure when the people finally reach the shores of the United States, and in many cases, don't even get that far. We've tried to put a human face on this, showing people what they're running from, their fractured families, the heartbreak that drives them, and also the hope. We've shown folks on this side of the border who often have sympathy, but also a healthy sense of outrage. And we've shown the heroes, like Sister Pimentel, who are trying to facilitate a better life. It is very complicated. We don't have all the answers, but at least, hopefully after this half hour, we can ask better questions.
Shake your legs, shake your abs, shake your butt, shake up your entire body to a slim, firm, and sexy new you with PowerFit Elite, the breakthrough multi-directional vibration platform that helps engage all your muscles from the moment you step on it. PowerFit uses multi-directional vibration to create muscle confusion and rapidly contract and relax your muscles to help you get fit and stay fit.
It's intense. You really feel your whole body working.
You could be watching TV, but you do feel the workout.
It works you out where you don't feel like you're working out. It's actually a lot of fun.
Each traditional exercise that you do on PowerFit Elite can help sculpt, transform, and redefine your body from head to toe. The secret is the multi-directional vibration technology that causes muscle confusion and forces them to contract and counter-challenge you. Your muscles work hard so you can stabilize and maintain your balance. There are 3 standing positions: walking, jogging, and then running. Plus, there are 3 different program levels for workouts to choose from, so you can really customize your workout. PowerFit Elite can help improve your energy, burn calories, tone your body, define your abs, work your arms, strengthen your legs, boost your buttocks, and so much more. And for an even more intense workout, add resistance bands for bicep curls, forward lateral raises, and crisscross pulls. It's time to join the new fitness revolution that's shaking up the world. Call or go online now and you can try PowerFit Elite in your home for 30 days for only $14.95. But wait, order right now and and we'll upgrade you to the deluxe set that includes the complete workout guide, the power bands, and the handy remote control. That's an over $80 value free. Try PowerFit Elite in your home for 30 days. And if it's not the best workout system you've used, just return it for a refund of your trial price. But hold everything, we'll also add our healthy eating plan to help you achieve your best possible results free. Try PowerFit Elite in your home for 30 days for only $14.95 and experience the power of extreme vibration. Order now.
Why decide between a walk-in tub or shower when you could have both? Call now and we'll upgrade your new Safe Step walk-in tub purchase with our exclusive free shower package.
Once you turn 60, you have to realize there are limitations, whether you want to admit it or not. My walk-in tub has helped me to continue to enjoy a much better quality of life.
Call 800-775-7409. That's 800-775-7409. 800-775-7409. Call now.
So before I say my final goodbye, please allow me to acknowledge some people that you never see but have been as much a part of this program as yours truly. Earlier this hour, I got to thank Andrew personally for all the years we've spent together. I now want to mention a few other names, and let's start with Larry. I have never worked with a better producer, and the only thing that exceeds his abilities is his professionalism. Directors Ralph and Barry, they've kept me honest over the years, even if I didn't always listen to the time cues. I've been blessed with phenomenal editors, Mike, John, Ashley. It's a miracle the messes I've dumped on your lap late in the day that you've been able to turn into good TV. Paul, you're a rock star in the audio booth, and Dave, you've been invaluable at every turn. The pride in the product that you all took, it made coming to work every day a joy for me. This was the favorite part of my job. To all of you, and to all the folks over the years who've worked on this program, thank you is not enough. To all the great guests who've helped explain and give context, to all the people who've bared their souls and shared their stories, thank you. And thanks, Angela, for bringing them to our table. Thank you also goes out to the old man. Long ago, before the egomania led me to name a show after myself, I was a reluctant talent. Well, you believed in this show. You pushed us to take chances and go much farther than a show this size had any right to aspire to. I have been blessed with the greatest gift someone in my position could ever dream of: autonomy and freedom. It has been an opportunity of a lifetime that I can't thank you enough for. And again, thank you to all you at home. I sign off with the belief that I and my team did our best as honest brokers who tried to make things better. I've had a front row seat to watch humanity when tested. I've been awed by the capacity of our banner angels, and I've been shaken by the depths of selfishness of others over the 2 decades I've sat in this chair. It has taught me a few things. We, collectively, need to constantly evolve. We need to stop demonizing people who don't look, pray, or love like us. We need to listen to one another, and we don't have time to waste with the petty tribalism that has defined the last chapter of this program. If we care, if we really care about our fellow Americans, especially the easiest of us to forget, we will be a more perfect union. Just like myself in this program, if you're willing to give of yourself, you will get so much more back in return. I've had a job I wouldn't have traded for any other. I've made friendships that will last a lifetime. I am blessed, and I owe it to all of you. So thank you, and good night.
This is an advertisement for legal services. Important news for farm workers and others exposed to the weed killer paraquat and who were later diagnosed with Parkinson's disease or told by a doctor they might have Parkinson's disease. Studies say those exposed to paraquat sold under these brand names and others have an increased risk of developing Parkinson's disease or Parkinson's-like disease. If you or a loved one worked around the weed killer paraquat and were then diagnosed with Parkinson's disease or told by a doctor you might have Parkinson's disease since exposure, call the law offices of Davis & Crump right now at the number below to see if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call the law offices of Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one were exposed to paraquat and were then diagnosed with Parkinson's disease or told by a doctor you might have Parkinson's disease. Call Davis & Crump right now to see if you're eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Our first consultation is free, and we don't get paid unless you get paid. Call now. Operators are standing by.
8 years ago, my daughter called to say she was expecting our first grandchild.
But I never actually heard her say that. And the first time my granddaughter called me Papa, I didn't hear that one either.